Accelerate, accelerate. Good. Hips on the table. Go. 30 seconds. Okay, go inside. There you go, right there. There you go. You got your power now. Go. Go inside, right there. Hey. Guard. Back. Good.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti back with another video, and in today's video we're here with yet another training camp recap for the Washington football team and the Burgundy and Gold. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. But before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, and subscribe if you're new, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload a video about the NFL, or in this case our Washington football team. And let's get straight into today's video. Today is a long one. We have news from the tight end group, from Ron Rivera yelling at the offensive line, to Chase Young being hurt. Yes, you heard it right. Chase Young has been hurt. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. And subscribe if you're new. Let's get it. So without further ado, without holding you guys any longer, let's talk about the number one topic. Chase Young is hurt. Unfortunately, man. But it's not what you think. Chase Young was dealing with a hip flexor. Per Ron Rivera, the rookie largely watched today's out of practice, hoping to minimize the issue rather than have a 4 to 5 day problem. So yeah, we have a new topic to talk about. So I kinda fool with you guys. It's not nothing too major, just a hip flexor. You know, just get down there with the trainers and just stretch it out. Nothing too serious. Ron Rivera just took the route and the precaution needed to make sure Chase Young was okay. So today he could have practiced, but they wanted to prevent him from hurting even more and holding him out even more, making a bigger problem out of just this small injury. I wouldn't even call it an injury. It's just a small hip flexor, just a little stretching that needs to go on with Chase Young and the training staff. And I think he'll be back out there either tomorrow, if not tomorrow, most likely Friday. So let's move on to other news. Let's start with the running back room. Today, Thomas Davis and Adrian Peterson both got vets day off, so they didn't practice. So that opened up the door for the young guys. Bryce Love was replacing Adrian Peterson with the number one team, and he's really been looking good per these quotes. With Peterson out, Bryce Love gets the first team offense. His role as the second back seems quite real, per one J.P. Finley. First 11-on-11 reps, Peyton Barber fills in for Adrian Peterson and Troy Apke. Peyton Barber had a really nice run, squeezing through the hole and running past Deron Payne with one trailing, got up the sideline for a 10-plus yard gain. So Peyton Barber is really looking to make this roster and really have a higher chance since Darius Geis has been cut. And they're really making a name for themselves. Peyton Barber and also Bryce Love. Another tweet from an insider says Bryce Love has really been looking great and doesn't seem like the injury that he sustained in his college last game doesn't seem like it's slowing him down at all. So it seems like he's back to himself and back to 100% as a football player. So yeah, that's really good for Bryce Love. Another thing that I want to touch on was that Dwayne Haskins has really had two great practices back to back. Dwayne Haskins has rolled out to his left. He showed off his arm strength by throwing a dot to Terry McLaurin to extend the chain. And it seems like Dwayne Haskins' favorite target has been Dontre Emmett. Every time he's back there, he's always looking for Dontre Emmett. But I mean, can you blame him? He always wants that security blanket and that big target. Dwayne Haskins has really targeted Dontre Emmett the most in the red zone as far as practice goes. Another thing about Dwayne Haskins that a lot of people wanted to know was how can he escape the pressure? This guy has been getting away from pressure really good. I mean, you've seen the clips from yesterday and also the tweets from today. It was one play when Montez Sweat was on his back. Morgan Moses got beat, and he still avoided the pressure and delivered a dart to Terry McLaurin. So it's really, you can see that the footwork has got better. And also, one thing that's going to make a lot of people even more happier is that one Dwayne Haskins today in practice, red zone, I think it was like a second and goal play maybe. Dwayne Haskins, he went through his progressions, went through his progressions, didn't see anything, and he took off and ran it in for a touchdown. So the speed is there. That's what a lot of people wanted to see out of him from him this upcoming year, because we know this offseason he really worked on his body and really got quicker. But I mean, are you guys surprised by it? So moving on, today the defensive line whipped the offensive line yet again. I mean, this defensive line is really nasty. I just had to pose that question out there. What is the defensive line really this good, or just is our offensive line really that bad? You guys can let me know down below. But for the second day in a row, the defensive line has really owned the offensive line, and it's so bad to the point where Ron Rivera were yelling at the offensive line. You need a coach like that. Don't guys, please don't think that's a bad thing. It's a great thing. You need a coach like that that's not afraid to get up in you. All pauses right there. Get up in you because of you doing something bad. You know, last year, let's just be real, Jay Gruden wouldn't have did anything like that. The training camp would have just been relaxed. But you need an old school guy like one Ron Rivera, and I feel as though that's just going to be good for our offensive line. Now, Jerron Christian, he took most of the first team snaps today, him and Wes Martin. So, although Sadiq Charles has been dealing with the injury and hasn't really been out there for the last 2 days, it seems like Jerron Christian is the person that they're looking at the most. Or maybe even Cornelius Lucas. But Jerron Christian has been taking the majority of the number 1 snaps today in training camp and also yesterday. In other words, let's talk about the tight end group. Jeremy Sprinkle and Thaddeus Moss and Logan Thomas were the only 3 guys that I was really talking about. And also Hill Hedges. But it's another guy by Marcus Ball. He by the name of Marcus Ball. He's 6'5", dude. He's 6'5" from Ohio State. And he's really having a great training camp. He's starting to turn a lot of heads. I'm starting to get the Steven Sims vibe from him. I'm starting to get that vibe that he comes in late, no one really knows him, and he, undrafted or late round draft pick, and he just turns up in training camp. That's the vibe that I'm getting from Marcus Ball. But I'm gonna stay level-headed because all the quarterbacks that's been out there, whether it's Kyle Allen, Dwayne Haskins, or Alex Smith, they've really grown to like one Marcus Ball. So he's a name to keep an eye open for. He's a name to keep your eye open for. You never know. He could possibly be that number 2 tight end right under Logan Thomas, because although Marcus Ball has been great this training camp, we still has been hyping up Logan Thomas, and Logan Thomas has really been doing a great job as well, and he seems to be a lock for that number 1 spot. It's very few positions where you can say it's locks here, but I feel as though tight end is a lock for one Logan Thomas. Although it is the worst probably position group on the team, I feel as though Logan Thomas gives us the best chance to be successful. Now let's talk about good old Antonio Gandy Golden. Antonio Gandy Golden, he's really been having a good training camp also. I'm not going to say no one is having a bad training camp, because it doesn't seem like no one's having a bad training camp. But the one thing that stood out to Antonio Gandy Golden today was, we all know his big catching ability, but this guy was not afraid to block. He let out a lead block for Antonio Gibson on one play, on a toss play, and he was also just not afraid to block. You need guys like that, and that's what's going to set him apart from all the rest of the other wide receivers. Terry McLaurin's also a good blocker, but it's just going to set himself apart from all these other receivers that's trying to make the roster too. Let's shift gears a little bit and go to the special teams. The special teams has finally been getting some love today, where we were trying to figure out who was going to be the kick returner. Was it going to be Steven Sims, or was it going to be Trey Quinn, or maybe a guy by the name of Isaiah Wright? We don't know. Steven Sims, I didn't want him to be the kickoff returner or the punt returner just because of how good of a slot receiver he is. We don't want to risk injury, but he was still back there today. Now, Isaiah Wright was the first one out there. He was the one getting the starting role, so maybe that's a good thing for one Isaiah Wright to make the team. That's what I was thinking to begin with when we signed him. I was thinking he was going to be a guy that was going to be the special teams guy, because, I mean, if you've seen him at Temple, the guy almost scored on every kick return. Now, a name that I'm really surprised that it's not back there was one Antonio Gibson, but then again, I can see why, because we wanted to keep him healthy. We don't really want to put him back there, but he's capable of running back kicks too, a Swiss Army knife. Now today has really been a relaxed day, honestly. It's not really as competitive as yesterday, only because of the weather in the DC area. I'm pretty sure they just want to take it, slight today. It was wet, it was muddy, it was just nasty today, so I don't think they wanted to really go all out. So it really wasn't a lot to talk about here, besides the number one topic being Chase Young hurt and the offensive line, defensive line battle in the trenches and the offensive line just getting whipped up on. Other than that, it's just not really too much to talk about. Tomorrow, I'm hoping for a much more impactful day. But other than that, the running backs has looked really good, man. Antonio Gibson, Peyton Barber, and Bryce Love has all looked really good. The wide receivers have looked really good. Dwayne Haskins has looked awesome and phenomenal. If you guys don't believe me, just go check out JP Finley tweets on one Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins has really been looking good. I mean, he's been zipping in balls in spots that you only would see Patrick Mahomes zipping in balls. I mean, it's been this little bit of room to be able to complete a pass, and Dwayne Haskins has been able to fit it in there to Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, Dontre Edmond, Antonio Gandy-Golden. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about was possibly the wide receiver room. Now, it's really looking like that one Dontre Edmond is going to be the opposite of Terry McLaurin, only because of maybe experience. But I don't think it's that. I think it's just because he's earning it. AGG has really been good, but Dontre Edmond's been really good too. So that's a battle to keep your eyes out open for too. But Dontre Edmond has really looked good and has grown to become one of Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen's targets. So with that being said, just a little quick video today. Not a lot to talk about besides one Chase Young being hurt. So as always, it's me, boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe, to the Washington football team. I'm out. Peace.
I got a bad bitch, she said we gon' spoil you. I love them sticks, nigga, with them 40. She love my dick, all the way horny. Ain't getting back, though, you already informed. Can't fuck with these nigga be corny. I'ma just a little step, I never know Jordan.